Hey everyone, Jake with Nash Power Sports. Hope you're all doing well. It's a beautiful spring morning here in Bremerton, Washington. I'm at one of the parks near my house, and I want to tell you about a really cool machine that I got to spend the last few days with. Kind of an all-new class of machines. So what I got to ride was an adventure touring three-wheeler, kind of a new concept. This is the newest member of Can-Am's three-wheeled family right here. This is the Canyon, and I'll tell you right now, this is absolutely the one I would buy if I were getting a three-wheel machine. I've gotten to ride the Riker and the Spider, and I enjoyed both of them actually quite a bit more than I thought I would. I'm definitely a motorcycle guy, but these three-wheelers, they're a lot of fun, and they kind of open up a whole new world for people that never learned how to ride motorcycles. So I think they're great. They give more people the opportunity to get out and experience that open air freedom. What I want to focus on with this is how it differs from the other machines. Obviously, this one, as an adventure machine, it's kind of got some off-road intention. I took it out and got to use it in all of the environments that it's intended. I rode it around town, had it out on the highway, out on some curvy country roads, and then I spent quite a bit of time off-road with it on some gravel roads and then some kind of choppy power line roads. And I just want to tell you about how it performed and what I thought of it overall. So this right here is the Redrocks edition. So this one has the highest level of features and content. It's definitely the most expensive one in the lineup, but for my money, it's absolutely the one I would get. I'm an adventure rider, so the idea of going off-road and exploring is really appealing to me. And I think that if you're already into this three-wheel universe, you're absolutely going to love this one. It just gives you more options and more places you can go. So I want to start off with the styling of this machine, which I like quite a bit. I think they nailed the look of this thing. It's definitely cool looking. It looks rugged. I think the color scheme, you couldn't have picked a better color scheme for this. I love that matte kind of gray, olive green, kind of almost like a military look to it. I think this looks like it could easily be one of the vehicles in Halo, the video game, or something like that. I think it looks the part. Definitely looks rugged and adventurous, and I love the styling. So on style alone, this is the three-wheel machine I would get out of all of them. I just think this is by far the coolest looking one. This paint, really nice matte finish paint. The surfaces and just all of the textures on this thing, they look really cool. I like these wheels, love the orange accents. It looks cool, gotta say. They nailed the styling. So, adventure. Obviously, everybody's got a different version of adventure and what an adventure is. You know, I ride adventure bikes. I have a KTM 890 Adventure R and I've done a couple BDRs on it. This right here, you're gonna have to manage your expectations, or at least kind of calibrate what your version of an adventure is. So this is gonna take you anywhere that a gravel road goes, and I think it does really, really well on gravel roads. I rode it on some power line roads that were definitely a lot choppier, and I gotta say that's kind of the edge of what I would do with this off-road. But the good news is there are thousands of miles of gravel road out there, and they take you to a lot of cool places. Lots of awesome campsites, lots of amazing scenery, and you know, trailheads are off of gravel roads. So this is definitely going to make the world in which you can travel and explore much bigger, but that's what you're going to want to stick to with this machine. Obviously, you know, it's got off-road abilities, but the line between what this can and can't do is kind of thin. And here's why I say that. You've got 6.5 inches of ground clearance, which is a lot more than the Spider or the Riker has. But this thing is wide and it's pretty long. And with the variances in the ground, 6.5 inches can disappear pretty quickly. So if you're on a road where you're splashing through, puddles and ruts, you can bottom it out relatively quickly. So awesome on gravel roads. It does great. I highly enjoyed this thing in those conditions, but I actually was thinking before I rode this that, maybe trying to do a leg or two of a BDR would be possible. I'm going to advise against that. I don't think this is intended for that. I don't think I would be willing to put myself at that sort of risk. So if you got this thing stuck, it's very heavy. It would be very hard to get unstuck. So stick to gravel roads and power line roads, and you're going to have a lot of fun with this thing. That's my 2 cents on that. So let's talk about features and amenities. This is, after all, a premium luxury touring machine, and it is loaded with good stuff. This thing has gold wing level features and amenities, not kidding. This has of every luxury item that you could want on a power sports machine. So super comfortable seat. This is one of the most comfortable machines I've ever sat on. I'm not kidding. This seat is just the right amount of soft and firm. It's well contoured. The quality of the materials is nice. It's pretty water resistant, and it's heated both for the rider and the passenger. You can control that right here with this switch. Also, these grab handles are heated for your passenger. That's really cool. So the heated grips for the rider, they get nice and hot and they stay that way. I've experienced some heated grips on machines that they'll get hot for a few minutes and then they can't sustain it for whatever reason. Maybe it just takes too much juice or the elements can't handle it, but these ones stay hot as you want them. I definitely didn't crank it all the way up because they were quite toasty. The riding position is awesome. What I like better about this than the Riker or the Spider is that your feet are directly under you here, and that also allows you to stand up on this machine. I will get into that in a little bit, but the stand-up position for off-road on this is really good as well. I just always prefer my feet to be under me. I've never liked feet forward. So, I really like that. This has a state-of-the-art 10.5-inch display here. You can drag the screen one way or the other. So if you want your gauges, your speedometer and tachometer, lots of information that can be displayed on this screen. You get into all of your, your media, your riding stats. This has Apple CarPlay, so I have my phone paired to this right now. You can use your navigation with the Apple CarPlay. Awesome feature. You have to pair it to your headset, so the phone is paired to your headset, the headset is paired to the unit here, and then with that you can use the voice commands. Really cool. Adjustable windscreen. I actually kept the windscreen down, and I found it to be plenty of wind protection. With it all the way up, I just prefer to look over the top of a screen instead of look through it. That's a personal preference thing. Loaded with features and tech. Over here is where you kind of control everything. So adjust your volume up and down, track forward, track back with your music. This is a prompt for voice commands. This right here allows you to go through your different ride modes. So talk about ride modes here. So you've got a custom mode, you've got your normal, your default setting, sport mode, which stiffens up the suspension and the steering, also sharpens throttle response. You've got all road, which changes the traction control and changes the suspension ever so slightly. And then you've got rally mode, which is intended for off-road. 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 Rally mode, whi It doesn't completely disable the traction control, but it turns it down to its lowest setting, which will allow you to spin the rear tire when you're off-road. Really cool. So the two modes that I spent pretty much all my time in, when I was on the street, I was in sport. When I was off-road, I was in rally. And those are definitely my two favorite modes. Yeah, lots of tech on this thing. Let's get to the guts. So it's got the same 1330cc 3-cylinder engine that's in the Spider. Makes 115 horsepower. It's a very nice engine. It's torquey and revvy. It sounds nice at idle, and it's a nice responsive motor. So I think the power plant is great for this. It's a nice engine, and this thing accelerates. It accelerates nice, you know. I don't know what the 0 to 60 time is, but I found it to be plenty quick, especially because of the 6-speed double clutch transmission. So it's a semi-automatic 6-speed, which you shift manually. So the plus with your thumb here shifts up, and then the minus, which is right here for your index finger, that shifts down. The shifts are very quick and crisp, and it's a nice, precise transmission. Found going through the gears to be enjoyable, and it's easy to use, and also it's in the right position for sitting and standing. I was able to click through the gears just as well while standing up on it. This Smart Shock suspension system is electronically adjustable, and it makes adjustments in real time while riding. So despite the mode you're in, it'll take readings of the terrain you're on, and it kind of makes adjustments to give you the best suspension performance for the terrain that you're on. It soaks the bumps up really well, but you're going to want to stay on, roads. Paved roads or unpaved roads. This is meant for all roads. You're not going to go out and ride, 2-track on this, and you're definitely not going to want to put this in sand or any kind of greasy mud. If you get this thing stuck, it's going to be an unpleasant experience, I promise you. So just have some forethought when you take this off-road. It's awesome on a gravel road, it really is. It's a lot of fun. Rally mode lets you spin the rear tire, spray a little gravel, and I found it to be a lot of fun. You just have to put it in the right situation, Don't go crazy with one of these and think you're gonna go out and, ride Jeep trails with it. The stand-up position, let me set the tripod down here. Stand-up position is good, and this machine is quite a bit narrower between the knees than a Spider, which is good because it allows you to stand relatively straight up instead of being all bow-legged. But you can squeeze the bike and kind of adjust your weight as needed, move forward and back on the machine. It's comfortable stand-up riding position. Let's talk about the wheels, brakes, and tires. So I mentioned before, I really like the look of these wheels. They've got a nice powder coated finish on them. I like the orange accents on them. I just think they're a cool looking wheel. They look rugged. The tires are definitely, they're good on the road and they're good on a gravel surface. But again, they're not like a dirt knob. So you're gonna have to take that into consideration with the traction and whether or not you're on a muddy surface. So the brakes on this are Brembos, so lots of stopping power with this machine. You can see here the drilled rotors in there. Brembo 4-piston brakes. The brakes are linked front and rear, and it's this one pedal right here with your right foot. So whenever you push that, you're applying brake to the front and rear, at the same time, and the stopping force is really good. It's got good pedal feel, and I think the brakes are perfect for this machine. Let's talk about the luggage. So adventure touring, obviously you're going to take stuff with you. If you're going to do any kind of moto camping, this is going to be really handy. It's nice quality stuff. It detaches like suitcases, and there's a lot of versatility with how much luggage and what you can carry with this. So this rear seat is completely removable, and you've got this LINQ Can-Am's link system. So basically these are mounts that don't require any tools. So there's a lot of ways to mount a lot of clever gear to this. The accessory catalog for this thing is vast. You're going to be able to put bigger boxes. You can remove the rear seat. You can put another box here. There's big bins with a net over the top. You're going to be able to carry a lot of stuff with this. So I think this thing's going to be very popular with people who do moto camping and such. In fact, if I was going to go, moto camping where like the actual camping is more important to me than the riding, I would love to take one of these instead of my adventure bike because of what you could carry on this. On a bike, obviously, the more weight you put on it, the more you affect the balance and the handling of the machine. This is going to be a lot less affected by weight and all that kind of stuff. And again, Can-Am catalog of accessories is vast. There's mounting points on the front of the machine. You're going to be able to put a lot of trick accessories on this machine. So that's going to be very appealing to people. So I'm going to bring this to a conclusion. This is a premium luxury adventure touring machine, and it carries a premium price tag. This is $32,000, and I'm not here to tell you whether it's worth it or not. I'm going to let you decide that. But I will say, the quality of this machine feels top-notch. I think you're getting a lot of content and substance for the money. It's very nicely made. I think it looks awesome, and I had a great time with it really in all situations that I rode it. In town, out in the country, on curvy roads, on the highway, it's very nice and comfortable. And, on gravel roads and like power line roads, this thing is pretty damn cool. So that's what I think of it. I'm really glad I got to experience riding it, and I think this thing is going to be very popular with people who are into moto camping and adventure touring, and people who are already into the three-wheel world. They're going to love this thing. So we got a couple of these at Nash right now, so I'd love to show it to you in person, have you sit on it, fire it up, put some numbers in front of you. Let's make a deal. Have a great day, everyone.